What's up, y'all? It's your boy Gates Jr. '09, back up in this beat. Another installment for the day, probably my final one. Since I am an ordained minister, I guess maybe I should start busting down some of the religions. For starters, let's take the most simplest one for the Christian religion, the Ten Commandments. Now, we have fought ourselves for years on trying to figure out what they mean. So here, let me bust it down for you as simple as humanly possible so you can understand that it is not impossible to live by them. You just have to understand what they mean first. First one is, you shall not put no other God before me. That's very simple. Don't worship or even entertain another God but the Yah or whoever it is that you associate with the God of gods. Point blank period. Nobody else comes before him. Nobody comes out after him. And you should be all right after that. The rest of them pretty much fall into place. Idolatry is number 2. Use God and only his example. It is the only thing that has ever mattered. That is the whole reason why he sent prophets down, to teach you how to live right. Not for you to take him and idolize him. Jesus, my Savior. Buddha, Elijah Muhammad, Heru, Yeshua, Shiva, whoever it is that you'd like to associate as your particular prophet or your particular your inspiration for your religion. Jesus himself even said, don't worship me. Worship only the God that I serve. And understand that my lifestyle is just only to be used as an example for leading yourself towards a righteous path. Now we got 3. Keep the Sabbath holy. And understand that 6 days you do labor, and the 7th day you do nothing. Whatever your 7th day is up to you. My calendar says Saturday is the 7th day of the week, and Sunday is the 1st. So Saturday is my Sabbath, even though I go to Christian church on Sunday. It happens that way. You shall not take the Lord's name in vain. Now, everybody don't even know what that means. Let me explain to you what it means. It means if you use God's name for a meaningless or unrighteous purpose, you are taking his name in vain, because he is nothing but goodness and purity. Everything about him is good. So for you to use his name in vain would mean you've used his name and you had no meaningful purpose or some type of hidden agenda to deceive or to lie or be dishonest and things of that nature that are not of God. Therefore, you probably going to get punished. I'm going to tell you this much. If you do, keep your ass far away from me, because I don't want no parts of you. You're a marked man. You are marked. Point blank period. It's only a matter of time, folks. You get took up out that joint. Let me flip my page over and see where we at on this one. Honor your mother and your father. Honoring your mother and your father does not mean putting up with their shit. It means don't disrespect them if you're going to sit there and endure their shit. He always gave us 2 options. You can stay and endure, or you can leave. Why do you think we emancipate ourselves from our parents? It would be a whole lot easier to emancipate or just not deal with than to sit there and get into a disrespect with them. Makes no sense to me. They brought you in this world. Without them and their procreation, you have no life. Your body has nothing. You have no body. You are still in the abyss of darkness, waiting to find your way to a host. Better yet to honor them and live long and prosperous on this earth than to have it taken short because you let your anger or your emotions get the better of you. Simple. 6, you shall not murder. Here's my problem with that. You even go into the Bible. Abraham in the battles of Jericho, they were murdered. Now, that does not mean you have the right to murder for God. It does not. What it means is, murder means with the intent to kill. If it doesn't have any intention, if you had no intentions on killing, we usually call that manslaughter. So, when you have an intention on killing, you're considered a murderer, and therefore you should be punished. I ain't met nobody who had the right to take another life from this world yet. But yet and still we do it sensibly and senselessly. Makes no sense. There's a bunch of redundant shit going on. You shall not commit adultery. Now this is funny. You think because you got married that if you have sex with someone else you're committing adultery. Wrong. Adultery is when you, a married man, decide to go out of your marriage and start unity with another married woman. And it's vice versa, the woman and the man. Both have to be married and both have to leave or deceive their significant other in order to achieve unity. That's adultery. Now you got this fornication thing. Thou shalt not commit fornication. Okay. Let me explain something about what fornication is. One night stand is fornication. If you know that person and you trust that person and you're physically connected to that person, and it's not just about lust, it's about every other aspect of the dynamics, then and only then will it not be fornication. It's not fornicating to have sex. He told us to be fruitful and multiply, and he never told you had to be husband and wife to do so. We put those rules into society. He just said, make sure you know who you fucking. Because if not, your dick might fall off. Thus, we have STDs that will burn your dick off. He told you, tried to warn you. See here. Stealing. Now, what is the definition of stealing? It is to take without permission something that is not yours. Now, what that means is not just going up to a fruit stand and taking the fruit because it didn't belong to you. That's theft. Stealing is by any means to take from, including life. That is stealing. Someone who uses a God-given ability to take under a false pretense is stealing. And then you got thou shalt not covet. Now, thou shalt not covet means you won't go be a thief. All of this shit boils down to just these two simple facts, y'all. Love and worship our God because he is very jealous and he is very vengeful when he is jealous. Do good. Those are the two commandments out of the 10 commandments. Everything else has something to do with either being good or worshiping only our God. Bust it down like that and you'll be all right. Now, for us to believe that necessary of being totally righteous will get you ahead in life, you're a fool. Only a fool would know how evil this world is and not believe that some type and form of evil has to be used in order to sustain your life, let alone get ahead. It ain't even about getting ahead. If a man decides that he wants to take your life, you better do it first. You better do it first. You better do it. If that man is coming at you with a knife, you can think the Christian way is to turn the other cheek. But all they're going to do is stab you there 2 nicks. You have to eliminate the threat. Retaliation from protection is called self-defense. Self-preservation kicks in and fight or flight. Either you're going to run or you're going to fight. Those are the 2 natural responses that our adrenal glands pumps into us when it's either time to fight or it's time to flight. You can't tell me that you can't follow these 10 commandments because it's not very hard to do. And if you can't, and you really truly you can't believe that you can, then you are accepting imperfection. You are clueless. You are hopeless. And I see why Jesus wept. I thank my Savior for opening my eyes and making me realize that, hey, these codes that's in these Bibles are decodable. And so that's what you can call me, the human Bible decoder. I'm going to give it down to you as raw as you need it and give it to it in our terminology, because we lost dialect throughout the years and throughout the generations. We don't speak like our forefathers. Our ancestors have nothing in common with us other than DNA. Our language, our culture, our everything, our religion, everything has been changed. So how can you expect to know where you're going if you don't even know where you've been? This is another reason why Jesus wept. Ain't that the truth?